Hey everybody, it's Nike here. I wanted to do a guide to the way that we fight Xera. A lot of people call this the DPS method or the speed clear method, and I think a lot of groups don't use it because they are afraid they don't have the DPS or they don't have the coordination to pull it off. And then other people say, oh, all you do is fight her in one place. It's really easy. It's not hard at all. I think the truth lies somewhere in the middle. And that's why I wanted to do a guide about it so I can go over just how easy it is, but also the finer points that you wouldn't see just from watching a video unless you studied every point of view in depth. So with that said, we'll go into the guide, and I'm going to go through the fight and slow things down and show you when anything noteworthy happens. And hopefully it will give your team the encouragement to try out this method of killing Xera. Okay, so here we are at the main staging ground for Xera. I'm going to refer to her arena in the center, the far side, as 12 o'clock, and the near side that we're about to land on is 6 o'clock. The tank is going to kite Xera to a little past 6 o'clock, and we're going to DPS her here. The first shard will spawn to our left and will be destroyed by cleaving from the group DPS. The second shard is going to spawn right on top of where we're tanking her and will be killed instantly by cleaving. The next part is a little tricky. The third shard will need to be cleaved, and we're going to have to CC her at the same time. What you're going to have is a couple people on the team who are designated as shard clearers. Usually 2 thieves works best for us, but it can be anyone. At the same time, you're going to have to CC her. So you'll only really have 8 people who are able to CC. Next, your tank is going to immediately kite her to 5 o'clock after the break bar. Now we have a red orb phase to deal with. Since we're all packed very tightly in a DPS ball, and we're right up against the edge, there's not a lot of room to outmaneuver the balls. Everyone in the group must do their very best to avoid the DPS balls as much as possible. The good news is, with the DPS of the team, you should be able to skip much of the phase. Now we have the first ultimate attack. You want to delay using the special action key as much as possible, as late as you can. The trick is that while Xera is channeling that ultimate attack, she doesn't do any other moves like summon Bloodstone Fragments. Therefore, it will slow the progress of Bloodstone Fragments around the arena and will give you more time to DPS before you have to worry about a Bloodstone. Now we've reached a relatively low pressure DPS phase where your team can focus on the boss. However, adds will spawn. It's important to have a plan to deal with the adds with this method. As you see, our druids are assigned to pulling in the mages, and our mesmer is assigned to pulling in the phantasms. If the mages are allowed to free cast on your party, they will do significant damage, and the same for phantasms. The plan is to have the mesmer exclusively pull phantasms and the rest of the team to exclusively pull mages. That way, we can efficiently cleave the adds down without anyone wasting cooldowns at all. And then we have a CC phase, and after the CC phase, we can go straight to DPS to 50%. While we're running around the outside clearing the bloodstones, it's a good idea to take the time to talk about pulling the adds. So as I described briefly in my system, we have the druids pull the mages, and the mesmer pull the phantasms. The mesmer focus pull temporal curtain will line up perfectly with the phantasm spawn time, so you should always have that available for the phantasms. Additionally, both druids have sword axe on their weapon set, so there will always be a druid pull available when the white mantle mages spawn. It's imperative to kill the white mantle mages because if they get might from the bloodstone, they will one-shot your light armor classes with their earthquake. So I highly recommend assigning your druids the pull on the mages. Since you have 2 druids and both could or should have axe pull on swap, you should be good to go, and make sure you always pull the mages. Now we return to the Xera staging area. With our method, in the second 50%, we kite Xera around 12 o'clock instead of 6 o'clock like the first time. This will help us avoid the gravity wells much better and hopefully not have to interact with one the entire fight. So as you'll see, we will fight Xera on the opposite side of where we tanked her on the first time. She's going to start a little after 12 o'clock, almost the exact opposite of the first time. Phantasms and mages will spawn. They will be efficiently dealt with at this point. Now we reach what I call the 38% hell phase. Xera is going to teleport half your team to the platform to deal with the Bloodstone Fragment. The remaining 5 are going to have to deal with several mechanics at the same time. This is the most challenging portion of the fight. As you can see, we have Bloodstones creeping up on our right, red orbs, multiple ads spawning, and Xera's ultimate attack. Everyone has to do their job. The people who are assigned to polls have to poll properly. The person with the ultimate power, with the special action key, has to use it at the appropriate time, and the team needs to be aware that when that Bloodstone comes in, it's going to put Xera in a field. At this point, you can move Xera a little bit towards 11 o'clock to avoid the Bloodstone spawning. But you do have to remember that you're going to have Bloodstone spawning and the red orbs at the same time. This is a lot of pressure for a team to deal with, especially if only one druid is left on the field. Efficiently clear the Bloodstone, avoid the red orbs, and make your way back to Xera. The team should be returning from teleport about now, and you'll have a Bloodstone that spawns on top of her. Once you deal with the Bloodstone that spawns on top of her, there'll be one more Bloodstone to your left at about 11 o'clock. Destroy the one that spawns at 11 o'clock, and you are done with dealing with Bloodstones for the remainder of the fight. It's important to reiterate that a lot of ads spawn, and many of them will be affected by the Bloodstone and have a lot of boons. The best thing you can do is make sure everyone who's assigned to pulling the Bloodstones, usually the Mesmer and the Druids, stay with their job and make sure they do what they need to do, and pull them in so they can be efficiently killed before the pressure adds up on your team. At this point, when Xera reaches 20%, she's going to teleport the remaining members of your team over, deal with this final Bloodstone shard, and you can make your way back to Xera for the final phase. Watch out for red orbs on the way in. Make sure you don't detonate any of them on top of your party. And remember, pull the ads if that's your assigned job. Again, I'm going to reiterate to hold the special action key as late as you possibly can to avoid the respawning of the Bloodstone shards around the arena to give you the maximum amount of time to DPS. And with that, Xera is dead. I hope you guys enjoyed this guide. I hope you found it useful, and I hope a few of the teams out there give this method a try and see just how fast they can get Xera dead. See you next time.